By 1997, Insomniac Games had released Disruptor, a first-person shooter inspired by the world of Doom. It received rave reviews, but had very disappointing sales.
Yeah, I think we were encouraged that we did it. We made a game, and it was out there on the shelves.
That's nothing too shocking.
There were times where we really thought we were not going to be around for another week.
I want you to get through the chem factory alive.
I think impressed Universal enough that they weren't going to let us go.
We were just very fortunate and appreciative to be alive.
Mark Cerny, one of the fledgling company's earliest supporters, puts in his 2 cents for their next endeavor.
He was looking ahead to the next couple of years of the PlayStation and realized that the demographics were quickly moving downward.
And the video game troupe changes their direction.
I wanted to do a game that my mother would be able to play, and she didn't like Disruptor very much. I think we all wanted to do something that had a more mass market appeal.
Yeah, Craig initially threw out the idea of a dragon.
So instead of flying all the time, he's more of a young dragon who walks and glides. We kind of messed around with that. We did some sketches, and
once the idea was suggested, it kind of clicked with all of us individually that, boy, wouldn't this suit us better? We don't have to try to be better than the next guy. We could just be kind of whimsical.
And a young star begins to hatch.
I think we felt really confident right from the first character drawing. At that point, we thought, okay, now this looks like a mascot character. This looks like something that could be big.
His name is Spyro. And his world is unlike any other.
Well, it's vaguely medieval, but more fantastic.
It was one of the first games that really had distant views, where we were able to create these very wide open environments, and that was a result of Al's engine being able to create multiple levels of detail for the environment.
The game that is supposed to be fun is having some serious labor pains.
I have to say that there were points in the production cycle where we were in crunch mode, just like every other development team, and things looked fairly bleak.
Never fear, Spyro, the cute little purple dragon, meets the deadlines. His mission on the PlayStation is to rescue his dragon friends from imprisonment.
Thank you for releasing me.
All while searching through vast environments and hidden chambers for clues. But the 3D platform game doesn't receive the reviews Insomniac was hoping for.
The previews and the reviews in general talked about Spyro being a kiddie game. To see it called a kiddie game implied that it was a very simple, novice-oriented game that wouldn't satisfy the hardcore players.
Following promising previews at E3, Spyro makes his debut in the fall of 1998. And, well, he doesn't exactly fly off the shelves.
In Europe, it took off pretty much from the get-go, but in the US, it definitely was slow.
It didn't catch on right away.
But then after Christmas, just based on word of mouth, we kept on having these solid weeks, bigger than the launch week. And it just didn't taper off, through January, February, March, it just kept on selling.
Audiences, like from young kids to their mothers who had never played games before, were attracted to this.
By the time we released Spyro 2, I think we'd had almost 2 million in sales just in the US.
And Spyro becomes a sleeper hit.
I was at the DICE conference, and they said that the first Spyro, I think, is the number 5 PlayStation game of all time, or it was some really high number. And I was very surprised by that.
But the celebration is short. And the pressure is on. The team that has grown to 13 people is asked to create the sequel by the next Christmas selling season.
We were under the double pressure of having a truncated development cycle and trying to come up with something that would make this game feel like more than a sequel, something that was a little bit more revolutionary than evolutionary.
And jumping on board this time is Peter, another Hastings brother.
When my older brother came on, they were starting to be concerned, that that's 2 out of 3 lost to the dark side. And when my younger brother joined, it was all over.
The future is closing in for the folks at Insomniac. Where's the new game?
We scrambled, threw out a lot of ideas, and finally settled on the mini-games in Spyro 2, which really set it apart from the first game.
The sequel, Spyro Ripto's Rage, finds the cute purple dragon caught up in another unlikely adventure. This time, freeing a kingdom from the ill-tempered tyrant Ripto.
I hate dragons! Yeah!
Doing so requires collecting items from the game's 20-plus levels of explorable 3D worlds.
The story, I think, was a little bit more mature, and I think we had a lot more cinematics that showed off what the animators could do.
And what about the name?
That's funny because the Japanese version of Spyro, if you look at the title, it looks like it says Ripto in kind of funny tangled letters.
It debuts in the fall of '99.
Definitely nervous. What if the first one was a fluke?
And the answer is no. Reviewers tout the more adult game, and it sells. Big time.
We had grandmothers writing us that they had stolen the game from their grandkids because they liked it better, so they wanted to play it.
Sony wants a third Spyro game for the 2000 holiday season. No one at the company named Insomniac will be sleeping anytime soon.
In Spyro 3, we had 4 new characters, and they had their own little home worlds, and so you could experience their home worlds from their perspective, and then they all tied into the story.
We were able to take the focus off Spyro somewhat and put it onto these other characters with their own moves, their own levels. It really breathed a breath of fresh air into the franchise.
The third game, Spyro Year of the Dragon, is released in time for Christmas 2000 and revolves around stolen dragon eggs.
Find the eggs and bring them back, Spyro.
You got it! Spyro has acquired some new tools: a skateboard, tanks, submarines, and even a speedboat. You can play different characters: a kangaroo, a yeti, a flying penguin, and others. And guess what? It's another hit. All 3 titles win industry awards in many categories, and all 3 become part of Sony's greatest hits collection. The combined sales of the 3 Spyro titles is well over 8 million units.
We were really scraping the bottom of the barrel to come up with new ideas for Spyro 3.
Well, at that point, we were really starting to think about, what comes next.
So we decided that it was better for us to start with a new franchise, try to come up with a new character, than to try to just push Spyro again.
It was definitely a little bit sad knowing that this was the end. Reading all the fan mail and knowing that, okay, we have to say goodbye. But it was the right choice in the end.
We just wanted to shake hands and part ways with Universal and then propose something new directly to Sony.
Although fans of the franchise can look forward to future adventures with the dragon, it will be produced by another company. Insomniac had to say goodbye to their quirky little dragon.
It was really hard to leave Spyro behind. He's kind of our little baby.